Okay, so when you think of the Fantastic Four's biggest, baddest nemesis, one name probably pops into your head, right? But what if I told you the team's very first villain was someone else entirely? Someone who literally crawled up from the depths of the earth with a plan to shatter our world. So let's ask it straight up. Who was the first major threat to ever face Marvel's first family? We're talking right out of the gate, their debut adventure.
Yep, you guessed it, it wasn't Doctor Doom. Before the Iron Mask, before the Kingdom of Latveria, there was the Mole Man, a megalomaniac who ruled a subterranean kingdom and honestly set the stage for every world-ending threat that came after him. To really understand just how important this guy is, we have to go all the way back to the beginning, to his very first throwdown with the newly powered Fantastic Four. And listen, this wasn't some small-time bank robbery or a minor scuffle. Mole Man's opening move was basically a declaration of war against every single person on the planet. His whole plan was to cripple humanity from the shadows, paving the way for a full-scale invasion from his underground empire. I mean, the sheer scale of his first move was just staggering. He used all this advanced leftover alien tech from a mysterious race called the Deviants, and with it he simultaneously sank atomic power plants on 4 different continents. This wasn't random chaos, it was a calculated strategic strike meant to weaken the entire surface world before his monsters even had to show their faces. But who is this guy? Where did all this burning hatred for the surface world even come from? Well, the answer is actually pretty tragic, and it lies in the story of a man named Harvey Elder.
You see, Harvey Elder was a legitimate genius, but from the day he was born, he was rejected by pretty much everyone. Society just couldn't see past what they called his homely appearance. He was ridiculed, he was ostracized, he was made to feel like an outcast for things he had absolutely no control over.
His path to becoming the Mole Man was a long, sad one. After a whole lifetime of rejection, the final straw was this humiliating dismissal from the Explorers Club in 1956. After that, he just turned his back on humanity for good. His search for a place to belong led him to Monster Island, and then even deeper into the earth, where a cave-in nearly blinded him. But in a strange way, it's what finally gave him his kingdom. Because down there, in all that darkness, Harvey Elder didn't just find a place to hide. He found power. He was completely reborn. For the first time, Elder's incredible genius had a real purpose. He found and figured out how to use all this ancient alien technology. He became the ruler of the Moloids, this race of pretty docile servants, and he took command of the giant monsters, the mutates that roamed the caverns. The outcast had finally become a king. And just look at how he armed himself. His near blindness was replaced by this powerful radar sense. He's got this staff that's like a Swiss Army knife of destruction. It's got lasers, ultrasonic beams, you name it. And he doesn't just command an army of loyal Moloids, he has city-smashing giant monsters at his beck and call. He literally turned every single one of his weaknesses into a weapon. So you have this guy standing at just 4 feet 10 inches tall, now calling himself King Rupert I, and he's wielding enough power to threaten the entire globe. It's just such a stark contrast between his small physical stature and the massive, massive size of his ambition and his rage. Which of course brings us to his life's obsession, this relentless, destructive, and, let's be honest, often doomed war against the world that cast him out in the first place. The Mole Man's plans are never small. You gotta give him that. He tries to sink New York City, or blind all of humanity with a sound frequency, or literally throw the Earth off its axis. It becomes this repeating pattern of just limitless ambition, which is almost always thwarted by his lifelong enemies, the Fantastic Four. And his rage wasn't just focused on them. Yeah, he hates the Fantastic Four, for sure. But he sees all of us, all of surface-dwelling humanity, as scum. And his wars weren't just fought upwards either. He was in his constant power struggle with other underground rulers, like the immortal Tyrannus. But is that the whole story? Is he really just a bitter man with an army of monsters? You know, when you dig a little deeper, it gets way more complicated than that. This is how he sees us. Surface world scum. Just 3 words that perfectly sum up decades of bitterness and rage. To him, the world above is this corrupt place that deserves nothing less than total destruction. But then you see something like this. The very same man who despises humanity with every fiber of his being starts to see the monsters he rules as his own children. He sees himself as their protector,
a father figure to all the other rejects. His whole life is this constant cycle of transformation. He starts out as this vengeful conqueror, dead set on destruction. But then, at times, he becomes this benevolent king, even creating a sanctuary for other outcasts. He's even teamed up with heroes when he needed to protect his kingdom. But almost inevitably, some kind of loss or betrayal drives him right back to being that grieving, vengeful tyrant.
And nothing shows his capacity for something beyond pure hatred more than his relationship with Queen Kala. I mean, it is a whole saga of love, betrayal, politics, and reunion. It just goes to prove that even in the heart of this self-proclaimed monster, there's a desire for connection, a capacity for love, no matter how twisted it might get.
So that leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? Is he simply a monster hell-bent on getting revenge for all the cruelty he suffered? Or is he a tragic king, a brilliant mind that was broken by society, who then went on to create a kingdom for anyone else who felt unwanted? The truth, as it so often is probably somewhere down in that deep, dark chasm right between the two.